handicapper, tout extraordinaire, Brandon Lang. How you doing, Brandon?
You know, I came on your show, I don't know if it was last year, a couple years ago, and said Brady was shopping in Vegas and was coming to Vegas. And I dropped the bomb, and I said, he's coming. And John Gruden nixed it like the bonehead.
Wait, hold on. Stop. Just before we get ahead of ourselves.
All right.
Just go back, because I think a little sound this cut in this, because I didn't hear you exactly either. So you said Brady was coming to Vegas. He had real estate here.
Yep.
What happened?
And Gruden said, I don't want him. And that's what nixed the deal.
And he was ready to come here.
If John Gruden had signed off, Brady would have came to the Raiders and not Tampa Bay. And thank God he didn't, because if he came to the Raiders, they never would have won a Super Bowl with Gruden as the head coach. Because John Gruden's one of the most overrated head coaches in the NFL history. He only went to Tampa and won a Super Bowl because Tony Dungy had that refrigerator stocked with an insane amount of talent, Brandon, and he just fell into that.
Brady won a Super Bowl with Bruce Arians. You're saying he couldn't win a Super Bowl with John Gruden?
No. Gruden would have screwed that up.
Okay.
Seriously.
Okay.
Well, Tampa might have had more talent. Yeah.
Okay. My bomb for the Boston audience is this.
Okay.
Okay, good. Now we're talking again.
Belichick didn't take any jobs. He interviewed with Atlanta and said, you know what, Arthur's going to fire a blank here. Atlanta's not ready to win. It was nice to interview, but I'm done. He's going to sit back. McCarthy's going to wet the bed again. Jerry's going to fire him. And Bill's going to say, all right, Jerry, here I come, buddy. Let's go do it. And he's going to end up in Dallas next year.
Mid-season, after the season?
After the season. After the season's over, McCarthy's contract's up. They fall short again. They still got a plethora of talent, and Jerry's going to make the hard sell pitch to Bill, just like he did with Parcells.
Is that a hunch, or is that what you're hearing on the street?
That's what I'm hearing on the street.
Okay. Bill to Dallas after a year.
Why did he do it now? Just because they didn't want to pay McCarthy?
Not that he didn't want to pay McCarthy. He wanted to give Bill one more year. He wants, in some warped way, he just is like, he still thinks in this warped way Bill's the answer. McCarthy is. And he has to suffer through it one more year before he takes the checkbook and says, okay, Bill, write the amount. Come on, let's go. Let's do this. So
okay. So back to Brady. You had him coming to Vegas. He actually did come to Vegas. So there's obviously a thing with him and Mark Davis. Is he still going to get points in the team? Is he still going to be an equity guy in the team? How does that jibe with his broadcasting? Like, where does all that stand?
So I haven't heard he's gonna fully come in part owner. That's kind of died locally. Vegas talk. It's kind of been swept under the rug. Wouldn't surprise me if Mark makes another big pitch to have the GOAT, the best ever, affiliated with a Raider franchise. You know, it's not going to happen in New England. And Tom does love Las Vegas. He loves the town. He loves the vibe. So we'll see. But the talk has subdued about him being an owner with the Raiders.
What happened with Josh McDaniels here?
The same thing that's happened with every other New England Patriot assistant coach who's gone on to the NFL. Have we had one be successful yet?
No.
Not one. When I say successful, win some playoff games, get the Super Bowl.
No.
Not one. So they go, what happened to McDaniels? Well, what happened to Romeo Cornell? What happened to Bill O'Brien? What happened to all of them? Nobody has stepped up and had a monster year and got to the playoffs, and you get excited, and they've all failed. And what made you think Josh McDaniel was going to be the answer when he failed in Denver? These coaches keep failing and get rehired only to fail again. Raheem Morris to Atlanta? Crash and burn. These assistant coaches that implode in the playoff. Dan Quinn embarrassed himself and threw over himself against Green Bay. You think he's going to be successful in Washington? It's just they recycle. It's like recycled plastic goods. There's no coaches to hire, so let's just keep recycling these guys.
Brandon Lang joins us here. Matthew McConaughey played him in the movie, in case you're wondering. Is there a website, BrandonLang.com?
BrandonLang.com.
BrandonLang.com.
And I have a reality show based on that called Cappers. Drops on Pluto Network in March, where it's the life of me and my 9 handicappers on my website and how we live our life every day picking games and trying to win and lose games. And the first 2 episodes came out great. It's kind of an entourage feel with sports gambling background.
You guys are based out of here, obviously?
And we did it. We filmed it in Vegas. It's going to be fun.
What's it on again?
It's on Pluto. We're going to stream it on Pluto and then take it from there. First 2 episodes drop in March. It's called Cappers. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay. We've talked a lot about the Dan Campbell analytics decision and, that what happened in that game. You got to take on that.
We shouldn't have San Francisco and Kansas City. We should have Detroit and Kansas City rematch week 1. I had Detroit plus 4.5. They won the game outright. There should have been a conversation when it was 4th and 3, 7 minutes to go, third quarter, and Aaron Glenn should have gone on the mic and said, Dan, listen to me. My defense has held them to 10 points with 7 minutes to go in the third quarter. Daniel, if you kick this field goal, we go up 17. On my daughter's life, on my wife's life,
a little strong.
That kid is not going to go 3 touchdown drives the length of the field against us in the next 22 minutes. Dan, if you don't kick this field goal, I'm going to take the headset off and we're going to fight right now. My defense is playing their butt off. 10 points, Dan, in 2.5 quarters. And Dan, I'm just saying that he's got to go 3 touchdown drives, and that's saying Ben and the offense aren't going to score another point. Dan, I'm going to beat you within an inch of your life if you don't kick this field goal right now. And if you do that, Dan, we're going to the Super Bowl, and we're brothers for life. If he had just had that conversation, Dan kicks the field goal. They go up 17. Brock Purdy is not going to execute 3 touchdown drives of 60 yards or more over the next 22 minutes. And the Lions offense is not going to go scoreless. The Lions are in the Super Bowl. Analytics, whatever, he's going to learn. The playoffs are a whole different beat. And I went on radio the week after and I said, question, and this is great because it's Boston. In that situation, does the greatest coach of all time, Bill Belichick, kick the field goal?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Game over. Game over. Aaron Glenn didn't make that conversation. He's just as much to fall as Dan Campbell.
Do you think the analyst drove that or Campbell? See,
I think his ego of we've done this.
I mean, I think it's analytically driven. I think he's got the support.
I agree.
Of his
He
team.
had done it that way all year. I'm just going to, this is the playoffs, this is who we are, and you can't coach the playoffs the way you did in the regular season, and especially on the road. If they're at home, go for it. You're on the road, you take the points. Everybody knows that in the NFL, and when you turn around, the football gods and the gambling gods, and you don't do what you're supposed to do, and that first domino falls, all hell breaks loose, and that's exactly what happened. The helmet, the fumble, tie game. And then I had a massive play on Detroit plus the points. I shouldn't even have to have sweat a backdoor in that game of 24-7.
I mean, you got it. You got it.
I got it.
4th down, back of the end zone, believe me.
And listen, I just started dating a new girl, been together 6 months, and she's learning.
Oh, that's a long-term for you, huh? That's like,
thanks.
This one's for real.
And she is learning the business. And she was 20 seconds ahead of me, and I've won 3 games with her on the phone when she's in New York of giving me the play-by-play. So being 2 plays ahead of me, all I hear is, oh, I don't know where he was throwing that. Well, that's an incomplete pass. So as the drive, she goes, oh, my God, they did really good. Well, are they past the midfield logo or are they behind the midfield logo? She goes, they're past it. Fantastic. She goes, oh, they're down to the 10-yard line right now. Great. So on the 4th down call for the touchdown, because I'm seeing delayed, she goes, up, touchdown, wait, what? She goes, they're talking about it. I'm like, there's 20 officials who are wearing black and white. Did they put their hands over their head? She goes, they haven't showed them yet. I'm like, babe, is it a touchdown? Like, this is massive.
I understand.
This is for the cover.
Quickly, Brandon, who do you like in the game?
He's 12-1 against the spread as an underdog. If you're going to go against that, you went against it in Buffalo, you went against the Ravens. There's only one quarterback who's beat that kid as a dog. Who is it?
Brady.
So is Brock Brady? I basically say it's hard to go against 12-1. And Andy Reid 27-4 with 2 weeks to prepare. Those 2 things right there, awful hard to go against.